Welcome to the ISM 3011 Excel Case Study 1. I want to make sure that you guys are ready to really tackle this problem. I think you have the Excel talent to get this done. However, I think several of you may stumble a little bit first just trying to figure out how to get started. So I want to take that off the table. So what I want you to do is when you go in and you open up the Word document that's in Canvas, it starts all of the information. Read through it. Don't panic yet about what you're going to do with the information. Just read through it and get an idea of what the information's there. Bottom line is you're going to make a pro forma. Good news is you don't have to come up with your own design for this pro forma. Everything's going to be up and ready for you to see that. So here's what I want you to do. Open up a new Excel spreadsheet. Okay, in that Excel spreadsheet, label it whatever you're going to name it. And then on the left hand side of the very first page, I want you to set up the pro forma, and we call it a pro forma income statement because it's looking out into the future. It's something that you would give to a bank or a potential investor to show them what you're thinking sales are going to be like and what income's going to be like over the next 3 years or so. All of this information, the way that it's set up, is all back over here on the instructions. As a matter of fact, you can see what I have done is nothing more than on the left hand side I have put this information in, and the right hand side I've put this information in. I'm going to go back to the way I started it. Okay, everything that you saw on the left hand is here. Everything you saw over here on the right hand is still there. So in step 1, what I want you to do is I want you to write it up here to where everything is set up on the left hand side. The point is that you're going to be able to adjust the column width of column F so that when Mr. Bridger prints this off, this is all on one sheet of paper over here, and then all the calculations are being done over here on the right. Okay, pro forma stuff's over on the left. We're not going to put any kind of data here. We're going to pull all of the information for all of this on the left hand side from what's going on over here on the right hand side. Okay, set up the left, set up the right, put the information in here to get everything set up and get it going. All right, step 2. Step 2 says now it's time for us to start filling in the sales information from the data that was provided to us. And there's a few things that are going on there. Whenever you're putting stuff in on the left hand side, I want you to put stuff in on the left hand side based on equations. Okay, so right here, clothing really is whatever the sale of clothing is for last year plus 115% markup. Now don't forget that 115% markup really means that I'm going to take my regular cost of the item and then I'm going to add it to whatever the actual markup is. All right, so that'll make sense to you whenever you get in there and you start doing it. So everything in all of these values, as you go down through them, they are taking the data on the right and bringing it over to here. All right, the costs. Costs are directly coming down from up here. Again, use equations to bring stuff down. And the reason we're going to use the equations is if all of a sudden you decided that your number for furniture was off, you could go in and replace the information here and it would go ahead and populate everything else over here. All right, get everything up here on the retail sales, get everything in place for the wholesale costs, and then your gross profit is going to be, the gross profit is what your sales were minus what your wholesale costs were. Okay, you have those data. It's there ready for you to pull in. That takes care of step 2. You also are beginning to see that you have a pattern. You know how to do this. Okay. Step 3, time to calculate the operating expenses. All of the information for the operating expenses, all of this stuff here, is back over on Canvas. Information is there. It's going to go down here on the bottom left hand side of your pro forma. So something like hourly workers. Hourly workers is going to be number of workers times the number of hours that they work times the number of weeks that they work times the hour, the rate, their hourly pay. Okay. There is operating expenses for salaried workers. You have 3 workers at $35,000. That's over here. Benefits. All right. That is how much you're paying your people times the benefits rate. Okay. And then you'll see there's marketing or overhead. And then you'll total up all of your expenses to come down to here. Once you've got your all your total expenses to come to here, you can calculate your income before taxes. All right, income before taxes, it was your gross profit minus your total expenses. And then from there you can calculate the income taxes based on the income before taxes based on the tax rate that's given to you there. You have everything you need to get going for all of 2020. Okay, everything is in place for 2020. Now we can use the growth rate that's been provided to us to do step 4. And in the growth rates, we're going to use estimated growth rate for both sales, okay, and we're going to use estimated growth rate for wholesale. And everything that's in 2021 is going to be what happened in 2020, right, times 1 plus whatever the growth rate is. All right, do that for everything in sales, in the retail sales. Wholesale costs, same thing. Whatever it was in the year before, plus 1 plus the wholesale rate. You have everything you need to finish off 2021. 2022, don't forget when you do 2022, we're not going to use 2020 dates anymore. We're going to use the data from 2021. All right? So we're just going to step it across for 2022. And we're going to step it across for 2023. All of your information is in there. Everything is done. When you have finished all 4 of those, you have everything set up to start running your scenarios. So the scenarios, what I want you to do is every time you run one of the new scenarios, and you have 8 of them, make a new sheet. All right, your sheets aren't going to be labeled 1 through 5. They're going to be initial, scenario 1, scenario 2, scenario 3, etc. Okay. So every time you run a scenario, I want you to create a new tab. When you create a new tab, copy everything that's here, paste it into the new tab, and then change whatever needs to be changed for that new scenario. All right? That way you can come back at the very end of it and put in a little simple table that says scenario 1, which is your initial, your overall profit was whatever the dollar amount was. Then when you do the scenario that you are working on in that one, you can put the profit. The difference is the new scenario minus what you initially did, and that's what you're going to do for each and every one of the scenarios. When you finish, you should have a total of 9 total tabs at the bottom, as I mentioned, initial and 8 scenarios. This ought to get you up, ought to get you rolling, and hopefully gives you better understanding and direction of what you're going to do on this. All right? Send me an email if you have a question. Good luck.